So just a quick introduction. This is this year's CrowdStrike and AWS Cybersecurity Accelerator winner. As of last year, we run an accelerator for seed stage startups. We receive over 200 applications worldwide and narrow it down to approximately 36 companies. And these companies go through an intensive go-to-market session. And at the end, we had 17 CISOs down select to the top 10 technologies that we found were the most promising. And Terra Security is the winner that was selected by our CISO CJ Moses, the the CEO of CrowdStrike George Kurz, and the Chief Security Officer of NVIDIA David Reber. So without further ado, let's hear about what Terra Security is doing from Shahar Peled.
Thank you, Anna. So, super happy to be here. My name is Shahar Peled. I know it's a bit hard to pronounce, so feel free to call me Sean. That's my Starbucks name. I'm the co-founder and CEO of Terra Security, and who doesn't like Iron Man? The reason I'm showing you Iron Man is because the magic isn't just in the suit. It's in how Tony Stark and the machine think and act together. This is exactly what Terra is doing for offensive security and pen testing. You see, every enterprise has a massive web attack surface. Hundreds, sometimes thousands of applications that constantly change in a faster pace than ever. But most organizations still pen test these apps once a year, maybe. The thing behind it is that we do not believe that it is impossible to hard code complex attacks in web applications or in cloud. It's just not possible. So we have two alternatives. Behind the alternatives, there is a very scary fact. In 2024 alone, the ratio of critical vulnerabilities in web apps rose 150%. There are many reasons behind it. I'm not going to talk about vibe coding or Cursor or go back to GitHub Copilot or cloud or CI/CD. The fact is, security folks can't keep up with the pace of change. The alternatives today are either manual pen testing, that, yeah, it's accurate if it's done well, they understand the business context, but they just can't scale. Or automated solutions, the current ones, that they can cover the entire attack surface, they can scale, but they just don't get deep. They cause a lot of noise, a lot of false positives, and eventually they can't get the hidden vulnerabilities that we are all looking for. So we asked ourselves, what if we can take the best of both? What if human pen testers had an Iron Man suit? And this is where Terra is coming to life. We've built an agentic AI system that makes the lives of pen testers and offensive security professionals much easier. I'm not talking about 30, 40, 50% increase in efficiency. It's hundreds of percentages. Because human testers don't have to focus on the 50 to 70% of the time that is not really exploiting. The way we do it is we're changing the paradigm in offensive security. No more automated solutions that try to scan without getting the business context. It's an agentic AI systems of over 60 different AI agents fine-tuned to a specific task. Starting from the time that they have to generate leads of attacks. Instead of searching for the unknowns, we have agents searching and finding the unknown unknowns. From then, we want to enrich these leads and make sure the human tester doesn't have to touch anything unless we get to the point that it's critical for a human involvement. We collect these leads to hot and cold and start exploiting. We do not believe, though, that the world or the technology are ready for a fully autonomous solution in offensive security. So we're needed in the most critical aspects. We keep a human in the loop. And once we do, there's no more inefficiencies. These agents, they can take away all of the heavy lifting, the scripting, the low and medium hanging vulnerabilities. They can also take away all the reporting and bring the human right where it needs to be. This is pen testing before Terra. A pen tester will go into the loop, start looking and investigating for potential vulnerabilities. What are the leads I want to act upon and potentially exploit? How does this relate to a business context? But very often they reach a dead end. And this dead end will happen again and again and again. And every now and then they'll find a lead that actually will be interesting, a potential exploitable vulnerability with real business impact. And they'll act upon it. But how much of their time is really these specific crown jewels that we're looking for? And these specific crown jewels, they are becoming harder to find. but they're easier to find for our adversaries because we're not the ones using LLMs. We're not the only ones. We've seen proof of dark LLM-based breaches. The amount of attack surface we have to secure is increasing exponentially. And this is pen testing with Terra. No more would humans have to find the potential vulnerabilities and leads and waste their time. Gone are the days where humans have to find those leads and waste their time on reporting. I'm not talking about Terra right now. I'm talking about the fact that Agentic AI is opening doors that we could not have opened before and unlock the opportunities to really do continuous pen testing without losing the control, the accuracy, but vice versa, increase it. If the last slide was one application, now this can happen continuously and across many applications at a time. The agents will do everything, and they'll call a human either when they hit a guardrail because this is an intrusive act and they want visibility and control. No one wants a fully autonomous offensive security solution to run and potentially break their environment, or when they need a human to verify what they have done. And this is how we get to 100% true positive. Those leads, though, are being assembled from different sources. We can't only look at the code. We can't only look at the UI or the backend. We have to collect it from everywhere because our goal as offensive security is to be the single point of truth. This last resort that verifies every other vulnerability and finds not just the vulnerabilities, not just the exploitable ones, but the ones that are actually exploitable vulnerabilities with real business impact. And the way we do it for the continuous agentic pen test, one of these sources is the code. We're not looking for code vulnerabilities. We're looking for code changes that will change the attack surface. And this doesn't happen every 5 minutes. But pen tests shouldn't be periodic anymore. So when we collect these leads, we analyze every change to the attack surface and try to understand if this will potentially create a new vulnerability. And if so, we don't need to spray and pray and look for those automations. We'll call up an agentic system to surgically pen test this specific exploitable vulnerability and see if it really is an exploitable vulnerability. And if so, there might be a human in the loop if needed, but maybe not. It's a fully autonomous process to the extent that we feel safe to use it. But because we see the exploitable vulnerabilities in the environment we're testing, and we see the source of it in the code, we don't have to give the developers and security engineers a rough report. We can direct them to the specific line of code and how to really remediate it at once. This agentic system is trained to think and act like ethical hackers, acting in real time, because this is the first time in history that we have the technology to mimic how humans think and operate in real time. And this is our agentic system. Leah flagging a change to the attack surface, sending all the business context and technical context to Axel to start an exploit from A to Z, who will then send the exploit details and screenshots and payloads to Leah, who will then translate it to business terms. Everything will now be connected to the business itself. But this is not just a dream anymore. In a real-life example from a few weeks ago, our agents autonomously found 2 vulnerabilities in 2 minutes. One of them was a username enumeration, the other one was an IDOR. Nothing is critical here. But then there was a code change. And we can see how a specific PR, a code change, will eventually change the attack surface. And we collect every one of these code changes. This does not mean there is a vulnerability. But this means that if I'm a pen tester or an agent, I need to know this. And now the agents will start verifying, which means they'll start a surgical pen test for this specific potential exploit. They have a completion criteria. The reason, we see the application on the left, we see Terra on the right, and this is how pen testers work these days. They'll plan and reason. Because they're agents and they need more context, everything they do will be reasoned and will find the answer, why am I doing this step? When they plan the attack surface or the exploit, they think like a human would think. How would this exploit, how would this change the attack surface? How might this affect the business context? And they'll write a completion criteria, but we see that they couldn't fully exploit this to the last points. So they have the capability to just work as a human will and write a Python script. We don't have to go into every line of code. But we'll see that this is now exploited. This entire process took about a minute. But I'm not here to show that we can autonomously find and store the XSS. This is not the idea of this lightning talk. What happened next is they wrote the reports. They took screenshots, videos, and the payloads and sent it to the other agentic system to add it both to the live dashboard and also to the PDF reports. But what happened then is that Axel called another agentic system. We call it a chain attacker. A good human tester would think, okay, I have a stored XSS now. How is this relating to the other security posture within this application? The chain attacker realized they have two more vulnerabilities. One of them was the username enumeration, the other one was an IDOR. And they said, okay, I know who the admin is. I can create a note on behalf of the admin, and now I have a stored XSS. Remember the business context from back then, a few minutes ago? The business context was, how can I get to a full account takeover? This was the goal of the agents in this pen test. They got the contest, they changed the three together, but now because this is more intrusive, and we, again, do not believe the world or the technology are ready for a fully autonomous solution, but we also don't need humans to do the heavy lifting. They ask for human approval. The one thing the human has to do is click approve or guide them otherwise, and they'll go and exploit. This finding would then be reported as a full account takeover, chaining three vulnerabilities together. I'm not here to say that a human pen tester would not be able to do it. They would, if they're good, if they knew about the other vulnerabilities, if it wasn't found by a different team, and if they had the time to do it. And even then, it will take hours. This took 4 minutes. It is a reality. Yeah, it's a new technology, but it's already implemented in various enterprise environments, finding hidden vulnerabilities that others have missed. It is becoming the most powerful pen testing solution and red teaming solution, not because it only has the best agentic system and not because it only has the best pen testers, but because human pen testers can't keep up anymore, and machines alone can't be trusted. But together, they're becoming unstoppable. And this is how we're building the future of offensive security. Agentic AI is not here to be another trend and leave us in a few months. It is the only time we can take, or the first time we can take, the deterministic aspects of code and connect them with the degree of freedom of LLMs. And all together, we're able to mimic how humans think and operate in real time at scale. And finally, give the security teams of enterprise the opportunity to keep up with the pace of change and beat the adversaries in their own game. Thank you.